This is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the fellow who has a hyphen in my name. The hyphen is silent, but I am anything but that. Sarah, we're going to talk today about something that people, frankly, really rather not talk about, but we're going to talk about, it's politely called the living legacy, which put another way is in fact to do with one's will and testament and how one wants things handled when one has left the mortal coil. So it may sound like a non-charming subject, but let's take a look at it and go through this together for a few minutes.
Sounds great.
Okay. So what we have here is Sarah Benton, who's my co-host, and I'm Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the voice of Respectonomics. And our purpose of Respectonomics, of course, is to dignify the human being. And part of that dignity comes with how we live our lives. We've talked about that quite often. But this time we're going to be talking about how we dignify those who are left when we leave this mortal coil. Leaving the mortal coil, by the way, there's a physicality to that, but there's also another kind of leaving the mortal coil, which is the one when we become incapacitated. And we see that, of course, in the way that somebody can have a major sickness. It can be through dementia. It can be through some nerve issue, whatever it might be. So we're going to be dealing with both of those parts.
Okay.
Now, the Living Legacy is a document. It is on the website. So that if, as we go through it now, people feel that they're getting behind or ahead of themselves on it, go to the website. It is there. And if you have questions on it, this is to the listeners, if you have questions, for crumb's sake, get hold of us, jeremy@respectonomics.com.
And the website is as well, Jeremy?
It's on the website. It's all there. This really is there.
What is our website so that people can go to?
Excuse me, the website is respectonomics.com.
Perfect.
So it's there, Respectonomics, Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. Get hold of me if there's stuff you want to talk about, but take a look at the document. It's under documents. And what it is, it's a document that is designed to tell people who need to know where everything is. Any of us who have been through the catastrophe when somebody dies, one thing you always hear, the line that you always hear is, we do not know where everything is.
Yes.
That's the most common complaint. So let's be very clear. What we're talking about now is a sort of almost like a Kodak moment. It's a splash pic of where everything is. That's all it is. So we're not trying to be lawyers. We're not trying to be accountants. We're not trying to be estate managers. We're not trustees. Nothing to do with that. This is strictly, where is everything? Is that fair?
Sounds good.
So starting off, now I want to tell you one other thing about this document, this Living Legacy document. It is safe. By safe, I mean, we always think about security issues.
Mm-hmm.
This document has no account numbers, no telephone numbers, no street addresses, no reference points to a specific account. And actually, you can put this up on your corkboard in your kitchen for everybody to see, and we recommend that. And the reason we recommend it is very straightforward, partly because it's visual and now everybody knows it's there. But there's another reason. And that is, if you need to make a change, all you do is get a pencil out of your pocket and make the change. And you know, and I know very well that when a document is in a nice 3-ring binder in the bottom drawer, it never sees the light of day again.
Correct.
Okay. And by the way, one of the comments I get about estate planning is, oh, it's all in my computer and I've got it all delineated and it's all organized. Yeah, 2 problems. Number 1, we don't know how to get into your computer. And number 2, even when we do, we have not a clue where to start or to look.
Right.
So this is really, really straightforward. So I'm going to run through it. And Sarah, you've got to do me a favor, please. Keep an eye on the clock.
Got it.
Because you know how Jeremy talks?
Not at all.
Not at all. So let's be sure that and people won't have the document in front of them. And I've deliberately asked you not to have the document in front of you so that we treat this what you would call conversationally. So we understand this is where everything is. It's called a living legacy because you go on marking it up as the days go by. And at the top of it, it's got your name and it's got a date. And the date is really important because that date signifies when was this updated.
Right.
So if it was updated on October the 20th, you write down October the 20th. If it was updated 2 years ago, fine. But now everybody knows this is the last one. They don't have to look anywhere else. Then we go on with financial institutions. How many bank accounts do you have at a bank? You write down the name of the bank. It might be I don't know, Wells Fargo. Make up some wonderful bank that you have accounts at. But what you do is only write down the number of accounts you have. Do you have 3 accounts, 2 accounts, 1 account, whatever it might be? That's all you got to do. So that when somebody's picking up the pieces, they know that at that institution there are 3 or 4 accounts and they can do the detective work later.
Right.
You may have multiple bank accounts. You know, one thing we hear is when people say, oh, I opened an account at such and such a place as well, and never tell anybody. And 2 years later it comes out, which is very expensive.
Right.
So we've got the number of accounts. Do you have a safety deposit box? Yes or no? And if so, where is it? That's all. Just where is it? It's at a bank. It's at an insurance company. It's in your home, wherever it is. But you have a safety deposit box or not. Credit cards, all you write down is the issuer. So if you have a Visa, write down Visa. If you have American Express or Diners, just write it down. Because you always want to be able to go to the credit card companies to have cards cancelled.
Right.
This makes it really easy to know which ones to do. Same with debit cards. On the insurance, most people have some degree of insurance, and there are 2 things about insurance. When it's a life insurance policy, write down the name of the issuer. So if it's, proverbially speaking, Great West Life, you write down Great West Life. If it's whoever, Alliance, just write it down. The reason for that is that insurance policies were often bought many years ago, and we don't know who the individual is any longer,
Right.
who advised. So the name of. On the insurance on your house and car, write down the name of the agent. That agent knows all of the bits and pieces about your cars and your house and your boat and cottage and all that kind of stuff. Just be able to go to the agent. Who is the agent? That's what we identify. Now, we're getting into something rather heavy here, funeral burial arrangements. And one of the things is, have you heard that expression when somebody's died and you get this one that says, oh, I thought she said, or I thought he said, and then you get into or 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Right.
With the survivors. So very important. Write down what the arrangements are that are the point of preference. So do you want a morning service, an afternoon? Do you want nothing? Do you want cremation? Do you want to have clergy? Whatever it is. It's all written. It's all there. You just write it down. Not very complicated.
Right.
You with me so far?
I'm with you so far.
Okay. You just tell me when I've gone too far, too deep, to anything. The next one is memorial donations. One of the things is you often see in an obituary, it says donations please to such and in memoriam to such and such. Write down what you want the donations to go to, whether it's cancer, whether it's liver, whether it's church, whether it's community, whatever it is, but write down where you would like to see the money flowing.
Right.
On a donation memorial basis. How do you want the announcement to be made? Do you want to go through the radio? Do you want to go through newspapers? Do you want to go through the internet? I will say one thing, newspaper, obits, very expensive. So I'm inclined to think, in today's world of internet and Facebook and social media, you can get a lot of the information out instantly.
Agreed.
Thank you. The next one then is this. Now this one will shock you. Are you ready to be shocked?
I'm ready.
Okay. Prepare your own obituary. And the reason for doing that is, if you ever had to do it for somebody else, it is a shock to the system.
Right.
It usually happens at the worst possible time. Your mind isn't tuned into it. You put things in that are irrelevant. You add things that shouldn't be there. I mean, the list goes on. And everybody gets into fisticuffs saying, but you should have said, or you could have said.
Right.
Blah, blah. So you write your own obituary. And one of the great advantages of doing that, incidentally, is you write down the things you want included and the things you want excluded.
Mm.
And that's not said deceitfully. There can be some things that you've done. You might have been looking after a particular family or something, and you don't want anybody to know that.
Right.
So it's comfortably excluded. We then move into the just a few very basic points. If you're employed, who your employer is, who is your lawyer, who's your accountant, who's your financial advisor. Just have those names there. Again,
Right.
we're back into this camp of who we don't know where everything is. Well, now you do,
Right.
because we've got those 3 people, 4 people to call.
Right.
Power of attorney. Everybody needs power of attorney. One is over money, capital as they call it. The other one is over health. Identify who has those power of attorneys. Very important, because if somebody's had a stroke, the first thing you want to do is to find who's got health power of attorney.
Right.
So you have those two there. The will, when was it updated? Very important. And you just say it was updated on, July the 20th, 1999, whatever it is. So nobody's looking for a will after that date.
Right.
And if you see one before that date, you know it's dead. It no longer is no longer valid.
Valid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Under the will updated, you write down the name of your executors. Very straightforward. It might be an institution, it might be individuals, it might be the lawyer, whatever, but you just write their names down. Then, and this is really crucial, everybody knows about wills and how you're meant to have them and how they state all these heavy duty notwithstandings and all that. We recommend also a letter of direction to the family.
Mm.
And the letter of direction to the family can say absolutely anything, but its primary purpose is to say, there's a lovely vase on the mantelpiece, and I want that to go to my niece.
Right.
Or whoever you want. Very personal, quite often not monetarily important, can be. But the real reason is to make sure that the things that you treasure go to the people that you treasure.
Right.
And one of the things people say to me is, oh, well, I've put labels on things. Well, labels walk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we recommend, this
Right.
letter. And by the way, the letter can say lots of things. It can talk about, some things that you wish you had said, in a more living way. They can include things that are important to you that you would like to see part of your legacy. Something you would like just to see being done. Might be education. It might be, I don't know, culture, traveling, whatever you want. But you can add something in there rather nice.
Right.
So we've got the letter of direction. The names of your doctors, particularly important when there's an issue where somebody's had a stroke, or something else, because quite often people have specialists.
Right.
So not only do they have a GP, general practitioner doctor, but they also have specialists who are looking after them. Very useful to have those names in there.
Right.
It takes a lot of the heartache out of trying to find somebody and thinking about who to contact. Passwords. Passwords we all guard them jealously. But the trouble is, when you're in a state of dementia or you've left this mortal coil, those passwords are very, very important. I mean, you would arguably say, well, they died with the individual or they went. But
right.
The truth of the matter is, you need the passwords to open things up. You do. So what you've done is you've written down passwords and you tell people where the passwords are. Are they with the will? Are they in a safe? Are they with somebody? So, for example, Johan, our producer, knows quite a lot of the passwords for Respectonomics. Surprise,
Right.
surprise. But there's one other thing. Would everybody pay attention to this one, please? We talk about passwords. What about documents? A marriage certificate, a birth certificate, or whatever. Passwords and documents go in the same bracket. Meaning, in other words, if somebody's got your passwords and knows where they are, that same individual needs to know where are your important documents. If they're in the safe or in the, hidden in some cupboard, wherever, but let people know where they are.
Right.
It's not very complicated, that one. So passwords and documents, they're joined at the hip. Very near the end here. Are you rolling your eyes yet?
Not at all.
Okay,
This is very informative for people.
Thank you. Passwords we've talked about. Security questions. I've written security questions down quite candidly. I don't see them being asked a lot. I mean, a security question and a security answer, it's usually on a one-time transaction,
Right.
on an internet financial transfer or something. So I'm not sure that's absolutely essential. But if you've got passwords or security questions that are important, at least let people know where the question is and where the answer is.
Right.
Yeah. So that takes care of the snapshot or in the old days we would have said the Kodak moment. I think today we would say the iPhone pic or the Samsung pic of what's life. And it's very interesting that respectonomics is all to do with building up oneself, building up one's potential, building up one's relationships, communications, the values of self and the values of other. In a sense, this living legacy brings that all together. It's like the end of the estuary. It's a really important part to the puzzle.
Right.
And it is, in fact, part of our worksheets. We have 7 worksheets. The first one is, who am I? And here we have this one, well, where is everything?
Right.
Cover the whole gamut, the whole journey of life between that. Now, there's one other thing. Can you bear with me for one more point?
I absolutely can.
Okay. You're being very nice to me today.
I'm nice to you every day.
Oh, I can hear it. I can hear people calling in and remonstrating with me and saying, she's so sweet. On the back of this document, so it's a single-page document.
Yes.
On the back is contact information. And this is whom do we contact in the event of an accident or death, whatever it would be. And here's the point. That's, in a sense, is straightforward. But there are 2 columns. And I'm being a little medieval when I say this, and you'll see why. But one column is for him, and one column is for her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can change the him and the her around. But what I'm getting at is this. If you have a couple and you say, who would you like contacted? The first 3, 5 names will be identical.
Right.
Call the children, call the doctor, call the lawyer, call the whatever it is. And you'd go to those 5, 6 names that are identical. Then after that, they start separating out, because what you'll find is that people have different areas of influence and different areas of contact that the other person isn't immediately familiar with.
Right.
So by writing down the names of people that, let's use me as the example, that I want contacted, my list, the names after the first 5, they will be different from my wife's.
Right.
And that's perfectly healthy, perfectly normal. The reason for doing it is, first of all, it makes it so easy to contact the right people. That's the easy answer. But there's another part too. Have you ever had that experience when you're in the parking lot at the grocery store and you see someone and you say, how is Fred doing?
Right.
And I think you know the rest of the answer.
Correct.
Fred died last week. So this is to try and circumvent those very difficult moments. Him and her, whatever you'd say, him and her, him and him, her and her, whatever it is, but you write down the names to be contacted, but separate yourselves out individually.
I think a neat idea or something to think about as well in this day and age too is we have the ability or the flexibility of social media. So often you'll see a post, for example, that will go out on Facebook more so than I think some of the other channels that are available. So perhaps maybe that's a good one to think about as well, whether you wish to indicate if you would like something sharing assign a certain individual to share something on Facebook or whatever channel they select.
I think that's a very good idea. And I think probably,
because sometimes people that you don't have day-to-day contact with, or you haven't talked to in years, but you would like somebody to know, that's a good channel to do that. And something then that individual can implement.
I mean, I think one of the things to remember about this document is it's what I call organic and personal.
Right.
So what we've laid out is a framework.
Right.
You've brought to the table, what about getting somebody to post to Facebook? That's the kind of stuff that, in your case, that would matter. Yes. It will be relevant.
It's an opportunity to reach the greatest number of people.
Exactly.
If you as an individual would be comfortable with that avenue, right? You can call that out.
Yeah, in a way, and here's a sort of pencil point, funeral and burial arrangements.
Mhm.
In a way, that's where you could write in, make sure that um, Fred looks after getting it out on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Because somebody may not be comfortable with
Excuse
that
me,
either.
it's under
That's not
prefer. Sorry.
necessarily they may not want that. So
No,
indicate
no,
that
no.
too, right?
Absolutely. This is very personal, and
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
all we've done is as I say, is set up a framework.
absolutely.
And, somebody called me a day or two ago. We were on and this is important. We were on the radio last week talking about this, and I have been swamped with inquiries.
Mm,
And one of the ones that came back was, have you made proper provision for where the documents are? That's why
right,
we've included passwords and documents to tell people where they are. So it is, as I call it, organic. It's always changing.
right.
So there it is. Now, the last thing, which I said at the very beginning, I repeat, and that is, this is a document that can be pinned onto your corkboard in your kitchen. There's nothing in it that you really wouldn't want everybody to know. It's straightforward information. It's not lugubrious. It's not morbid. It's not something you would say, I'd rather not talk about. It's incredibly pragmatic.
Mhm.
It really is. And by having it on the corkboard, it's so easy, or in your office or wherever, it's so easy to pencil in the changes when they occur instead of hiding them in I don't know, 6-ring binder somewhere. So there's that picture. I wonder if I could just move this along one little step.
Mhm.
And that is, and I don't think you even know this, and I don't like to ambush you, but following on this living legacy, we Respectonomics now owns another website, or domain anyway, domain, and that is corporatelegacy.ca.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we did some inquiries and looking around, and corporations do not have legacy agreements or legacy
Mm,
um, p- statements or positions,
right.
which is incredible. But you parallel this with your own, with a personal legacy, and you say, well, that's very important. Then it must be also true organizationally. And I use the word corporately because corporate is business, but
Right.
corporate is actually no more, no less than many corpses gathered together.
Right.
All these living people make up one corporation. And here's a little gem. 12% of corporations are less than 26. No corporations, how do I say this now? 12% of corporations are 26 years old,
Mm,
meaning in other words, most corporations don't make it through 26 years.
right.
So this is not to say that you're looking at a death notice, but surely to goodness, a corporation should be looking at what its legacy is,
Right.
what kind of imprint it wants to make. And it wants to talk about the equality of its beneficiaries. I mean, we think about beneficiaries when we're putting a will together. Who are the beneficiaries of a business?
Right.
And it's, of course, shareholders, it's suppliers, it's the environment, it's society, it's the community, it's employees. The list goes on. And every organization needs to have a corporate or a business legacy, if you will. That's going to be our topic next week.
Excellent.
But it is
That.
critically important. And I want to make one final comment. We own corporatelegacy.ca. If you think about it, it's shocking that I could have got that domain.
Mm,
It should have been taken already. And I think corporations, when they don't think legacy, they're more likely to be thinking of themselves, thinking in a manner of self-entitlement and self-aggrandizement. In
right.
fact, the scope is too narrow. Corporations need to broaden out their scope to include the legacy. Is that a fair?
Excellent point.
Thank you. We will embellish on that. In the meantime, everybody get to the site, get this document out, start filling it in. It takes 20 minutes to fill in. I've timed it.
Why am I
And
not surprised?
well, because I got bored.
It's not it's not a significant amount of time
No,
to
it's
make
not.
things so incredibly easy when people,
Yeah.
you know, are bearing so much at that time.
Exactly. This is the thing. You're tackling this when somebody, the survivor, and we talk about survivors. I keep coming back to: are we talking about a tragic accident, or are we talking about a tragic death? I mean, and or.
Mhm.
The point of the matter is, your emotions are absolutely all over the map.
Yeah.
So having this document just to tell you where everything is couldn't be
Perfect.
more straightforward.
Wonderful.
Get it around, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was
Thank
very informative.
thank you, Sarah. Thanks for your help.